I have a ring with this symbol on it. It was sold by a company called Outlaws Amsterdam under the name Viking. Now I know that this symbol, the Vegvisir, is an Icelandic Christian magical stave that dates from well after the Viking Age. But let me explain why this symbol, along with the similar Helm of Or, is a Viking, or at the very least Norse symbol. Iceland is not like Scandinavia. In many ways it could be considered to not even be in Europe, but in the Americas, owing to the fact that the island sits on the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. But, geography aside, let's look at this intriguing location's demography and history. Aside from a small population of hermit Irish monks who fled the pagan Norsemen in the 8th century, Iceland was and has been populated and settled by Vikings, their families and their chattel slaves, often Celtic people from Ireland, and their descendants. This is the Viking Island, or set of islands. And I know that there will be many who say that to go a Viking is a profession rather than a people, and they would be right. But unlike, say, Denmark or Sweden or Norway, where the vast majority of the inhabitants would not have been Vikings in the 8th or 9th centuries, Iceland was not like that. They were there because they were either a Viking or because of them. The permanent settlement of Iceland began around 874 AD with Ingolfur Arnason, a Norwegian chieftain traditionally regarded as the first permanent settler. According to the Landnámabók, the Book of Settlements, Arnason threw his high-seat pillars overboard and settled where they washed ashore, establishing the site of present-day Reykjavik. The majority of settlers who followed were Norse from Norway and Norse Gaels from Norse-controlled parts of Scotland and Ireland. The settlers were motivated by many things, mainly a desire for freedom, particularly from the centralised rule of King Harald Fairhair in Norway. Overpopulation, land scarcity and opportunities for new farmland also played a role in prompting migration to Iceland. So what is the Vegvisir and similar symbols like the Helm of Or? The Vegvisir is often referred to as the Icelandic compass or runic compass. It is a magical stave, nominally of Christian adherents, believed to provide guidance and protection to those who carry it, helping them navigate through rough weather or uncharted territory. This is similar in some respects to the concept of a St. Christopher necklace in more traditional Christianity. The symbol appears in the Huld manuscript, compiled in 1860 by Geir Vigfússon, where it is described with this accompanying text. Ber han með sér, mun han ekki vilast í stormunni, ilu veðri, þó að okundse. If this sign is carried, one will never lose one's way in storms or bad weather, even when the way is not known. The Vegvisir bears observable similarities to the runes of the Futhark, and consists of 8 arms radiating from a central point, each arm ending in a unique rune-like design. The precise meaning of each arm isn't universally agreed upon, but the overall concept aligns with providing protection and ensuring safe travels. While it's linked with Norse and Icelandic traditions, the Vegvisir does not appear in the original Viking Age sagas or records, but is instead part of later Icelandic magical traditions. But those Icelandic magical traditions are themselves a legacy of the Viking Age. Practicing magic is not a very Christian thing to do, but it is very much a Norse pagan tradition, particularly for women. This is seen in Seidr witchcraft, mostly practiced by women, known as Volor, Seithkonor and Visendakona. It was rare for men to conduct Seidr rituals, but there is a connection of the magical practice with Odin. However, it was mostly linked to the goddess Freyja. One can draw at least a dotted line from this practice, which made use of runes and incantations, to the more recent use of Icelandic grimoires containing images of magical staves, like the Vegvisir. The same is also true of the similar-looking Helm of Or, which has an even better, albeit only nomenclature-based, connection to the Viking Age and Norse paganism. The Helm of Or, or Aegirhjálmur, is a powerful protective symbol from Norse mythology and Icelandic magical traditions. It is often associated with strength, fearlessness and invincibility, particularly in battle. The symbol consists of 8 tridents or spiked arms radiating out from a central point, creating a pattern that looks like a snowflake or sunburst. The Helm of or Helm of Terror is mentioned in Volsungs where the worm, or dragon, Fafnir is said to have used it to enhance his fearsome aura and protect his treasure. After killing Fafnir, the hero Sigurd takes possession of the Helm of Or. According to Volsungs after that he ate some of the serpent's heart and kept some. He then leapt onto his horse and rode along Fafnir's trail until he came to the lair, which he found open. All the doors were made of iron, as were all their fastenings. All the posts in the house were also of iron, and they had been sunk into the earth. There Sigurd found an enormous store of gold, as well as the sword, Hroti. He took from there the helm of terror, the golden coat of chainmail, and many other precious things. As stated, the mythical, physical, if that's not a contradiction in terms, helm of awe, or helm of terror, is linked to the more recent symbol by name only. But the fact that there is this reuse of the name from a medieval saga rooted in pre-Christian Norse mythology suggests at least a tangential continuation of these earlier traditions. The first recorded appearance of the symbol known as the Helm of Awe is in the Galdrakver, written in 1670, so well after the Viking Age, but the ongoing connection is there in the previous point. Aside from these symbols and the mythological elements they represent, there is evidence of further pagan continuity in Iceland after the country was supposedly Christianised by a decision of the Icelandic Parliament, known as the Althing, in 1000 AD. It must be noted that, despite the ruling, pagans were permitted to continue to observe the old ways in private. And there are literary signs of this continuation too, centuries after the Althing decision. The nephew of the Icelandic chronicler Snorri Sturluson, Sturla Thordarson, who lived from 1214 to 1284, composed the Sturlinga saga. The text's primary focus concerns the period 1117 to 1264 AD, and refers to Odin in its main text, Icelandic saga, or the Saga of the Icelanders. In a confrontation between Hvam Sturla and a farmer's wife called Thorbjorg, she attacks him with a knife to maim one of his eyes, shouting, "Hví skal ek eigi gera, þig þeim líkastan, þú vilt líkastur vera, en þar Odin." Why shall I not make you like the one you most want to be like? And that is Odin. So, to conclude, I am acutely aware that the Vegvisir and the Helm of Awe are symbols that were definitely not used in the Viking Age. But, as outlined here, the weight of mythological continuity and similarities between magical stave use and Norse pagan practices means that these symbols must at least be considered to have Viking roots. And that's not just because I want to say I have a cool Viking ring. If anything, Icelandic magical staves in yellowing grimoire spellbooks are just as interesting, if not more so. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and most importantly subscribe. And you can also support the channel on Subscribestar via the link in the description, or via YouTube's Super Thanks. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.